Hello, everybody. Welcome to Good Sport NYC, a podcast about the culture of women's sports in New York City. I'm Christina Cooper. I am the host of this podcast and also the creator of Good Sport. This is the first episode of this podcast. So if you are listening, thank you for being a day one Good Sport NYC truther. I really appreciate it. I am starting Good Sport because for years and years, I've wanted to work on a project that captures the spirit of women's sports on a more local level. The growth we've seen in the industry over the last few years has obviously been amazing. But I think there's still work to do on a more city by city local coverage level. And I got tired of just thinking about that all the time and felt like it was time to do something about it. So that's why I'm starting this in New York City, where I live and where I am a huge fan of our professional teams. So that's what this is. For the Good Sport NYC podcast, we are going to talk about what's going on with our women's professional teams here. We'll talk about the Liberty, Gotham FC, PWHL Sirens, our rugby team, the Exiles. We'll talk about what's going on in the scene generally, different community groups, and all the cool cultural things that go around women's sports in our city. And of course, just chats with the people making this all happen, athletes, creators, journalists, comedians, super fans, you name it. I want them on the pod. And like I said, this is the first episode. So if you have ideas about things we should do with this podcast, please let me know. There will also be a companion newsletter that I'm going to be putting out every Monday that will highlight what you should be watching each week, different events, and hopefully longer form pieces by me and other people. So that's a little bit about what you can expect from this show, from this project moving forward. But without further ado, let's talk about what you're in for today. For this episode, we are doing a Liberty season preview with Christina Cooper, a women's basketball creator who lives here in Brooklyn. Christina and I talked about our roster going into the new season, who we retained, pickups during free agency, some of our big losses. We did some Liberty trivia, which was super fun. A couple quick caveats. Christina and I recorded this last week before some key news dropped. One, we talked about Cloud, Natasha Cloud, having not been re-signed to the Liberty or signed with anywhere else. On Monday, May 4th, we learned that Cloud has been signed to the Chicago Sky for $550,000 on a one-year contract. I'm so glad she found a home for this season. I wish she was on the Liberty. She was so amazing for us on and off court in New York City. I will always be a fan, but I am glad she is signed. It would not have been right if she was not playing this season. Next, we also talked about Tina Charles and how she wasn't re-signed yet. And then on Tuesday, May 5th, she announced that she is retiring from professional women's basketball. She has had a truly legendary career. She is a legend of the New York Liberty. We talked about some of her accomplishments during this pod. I'm sad that she won't be in the league. I was texting Christina this morning saying she is better than me because retiring the year they get bigger salaries, I would have stuck around. But she's doing what's best for her, which is extremely commendable and cool. And lastly, our girl Sabrina Ionescu got hurt during a preseason game. She sprained her ankle and is going to be out for Friday, May 8th's season opener against the Sun. But luckily, she should be back pretty soon, so that's good. Okay, without further ado, here's my conversation with Christina. Christina Cooper, welcome to Good Sport. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Christina, you are a women's basketball creator. I know you also host some amazing watch parties and community events at Blazers, Women's Sports Bar in Brooklyn. How did you get here? What is your entry into the world of women's sports?
Good question. So I play basketball as well. So I'm part of the Pride Basketball League in New York City. So I have a pretty extensive basketball community that I'm part of. I'm also a season ticket holder for the Liberty, so I have a lot of even people that don't play basketball that I communicate with daily.
Cool.
And I have a couple different group chats I'm in as far as season ticket holders and just talking sports. So I found myself being in a place where I was just really going down rabbit holes very frequently, looking at, updates, the CBA. There was so much information, and everyone I talked to, I was dragging them down that rabbit hole with me.
Yep.
Um, Probably got to a point where, folks were didn't need as much information as I had in my head, and I was just looking for an outlet somewhere to be able to share that information because I am really passionate about basketball playing, just like the teamwork that comes along with it, the community. I have met most of my best friends through basketball. So I decided to move to TikTok and just kind of start ranting and chatting about basketball on there of what I was already doing on a day-to-day basis. And the rest has kind of been history.
The rest is history. I love it. And then how did you get into hosting events at Blazers?
So my friend is actually one of the owners. I know
Oh,
all three of the owners and met them prior to them opening the bar. So I'm friends with all of them now, which is really nice. But originally, the
cool.
first person I knew of the three owners, her name is Debony, and she plays in the Pride Basketball League. So
Sweet.
I, had been already making my TikToks prior to her starting that endeavor. We already had the connection. We were already friends. So once she got the bar up and running, we kind of connected and asked about hosting some events there. I've been able to do watch parties for Unrivaled. I did some for the NCAA women's tournament, and I'm looking forward to hosting some for the upcoming Liberty away games since I'll be at the home games.
Yeah, you're like, no can do. I am at Barclays, but away games, you'll be seated there. I love it.
Exactly. Barclays is my second home once the season starts. I
Yep.
spend just as much time there as my own house. So.
Hell yeah. My something I want to ask before we jump into our main discussion today um, is there a moment either from like growing up or more recently where you just sort of realized like the women's sports world or women's basketball was for you? Like, why do you think you've gravitated to this world?
Well, I went to an all-girls high school, an all-girls Catholic high school, actually. So I
Cool.
feel like that's definitely a huge part of my foundation and my friend group as well. So I'm used to being around all women,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to sports.
Yeah,
Even our gym classes were competitive, women are competitive. So I feel like that's something I grew up around. My mom is one of nine. She's super competitive. She considers herself like a tomboy. My dad is competitive. He was in the army. He played basketball in college. So like I think my roots are very competitive, which drove me
totally.
towards sports, drove me to a women's school that was super competitive, and I continued playing basketball, club basketball and pickup all through college. But I really after college is when I started playing in the Pride League, and I think that's been a big part of me getting into watching women's sports because although I always played, it wasn't really until I moved to New York City, had the opportunity to go to a Liberty game that I really just I got hooked. Like I think whether you like basketball or not, once you start to learn the stories of the different women that are playing and really like build a relationship with them, it feels like that you are following their story. You're seeing them move from team to team. You're
Yep.
seeing them improve. It's really easy to just get wrapped up in it, and it's so exciting. The environment in Barclays is addicting. So once I went to a couple games, I was like, no, I need to be here for all of them, and I've been a season ticket holder for 4 years now. Um,
Okay. You've got a degree in season ticket holding from
Exactly.
Barclays
Like, ask
University.
me anything. No, I'm just kidding.
This is like a general question I just thought about. How would you describe like the women's sports scene in New York?
It's electric. I think it's just like an instant way to build a relationship with someone, break a barrier, meet new people. I mean, as you mentioned, I host events at Blazers. I have people that reach out to me and just want to come to an event and they come solo and they leave having met three or four new people. I have so many different friend groups myself that I love to just see people be comfortable showing up to a space where maybe they don't know a lot of people or maybe they don't know anyone, but they cheer for the same thing as someone else, and now that eye contact is made, and now they feel comfortable starting a conversation with that person, or they're both rooting for the same player, or they show up in the same jersey. It is just electric. It draws people together. It's so positive. It just feels like home. That's
Yeah,
like that is the biggest thing to me. I feel like I can go into any, I could go to a different state, a different team, and just walk into a bar that's playing a women's game. And if there's all women's sports fans there, I feel comfortable. I feel safe.
yep,
I know I already have something in common. It's very inclusive and it's growing, right? So like, I think in the past it was mostly made up of women, but now even so, I go to Blazers and I was outside during the draft and listening to some of the men just talk about all the facts they knew about some of the players, and that really wasn't the case a few years ago, in my experience. So
totally.
yeah, I feel like it's just expanded. The reach is expanded. You're seeing them in other things, so now people are finding out about the players even before they watch a game. They see them on Victoria's Secret modeling, or they see
Yep,
Unrivaled, or they see a sneaker commercial, or
yeah.
they're just on TV just for like their celebrity status. They're at the Met
Hmm.
Gala. Like, it's just incredible how much has changed in such a short period of time. And I think it's because of podcasts like yourself, brands like Together, that are doing more storytelling about women. So it's, yes, they're the best players in the world and their product is amazing and the games are amazing, but also there's just so much more to them as individuals that people are beginning to learn about, and draws more eyes to the game.
That's exactly why I wanted to do this whole thing, is because I love the place where culture and sports meet, and women are culture. Women are the people that push our culture forward, especially Black women, especially queer women. WNBA, hello.
Hello.
Yes. So yeah, there's just like nothing I feel more excited about. So I was like, let's get into this. So I'm just so honored that you're here. This is the first pod recording we're doing. So
Of
thanks for
course.
being our first guest, and doing a Liberty season preview is the best way to kick this thing off. We are 1 week out from the season starting, the 2026 WNBA season opener. Um, we've got ourselves a team. The Liberty is looking pretty stacked, but I wanted to ask you, like, how are you feeling? Is the Liberty so back?
Yeah, I've been reading things and they're calling us a super team. And during one of the preseason games, I think it was the first preseason game, they had on TV like, what are the predictions for the 2026 season? And
Yep,
they're predicting that we face off against the Aces in the finals. So the analysts are feeling good about the team. I'm feeling good about the team. We've secured a lot of our top players. We've lost some players, we've gained some new players, but I think our core is, the core we've had over the past few years. So that's always a good start.
totally.
I think it's a totally different landscape this year as far as all of the teams. There's been so much change and personnel from one team to the next. But I'm feeling really confident. I think we are so back. I think we have a good opportunity to go all the way for a ring. I'm so excited to have Leonie back. I'm really sad to see that Tosh isn't back with the team.
I
But I still
know.
think we have a starting five and we have options. Like, I think last year we really struggled. We had a lot of injuries.
Yep.
They made changes to the coaching staff to hopefully improve that. They've
Yes.
added development players. So I feel like hopefully we're set up for success.
Hmm.
We've got a new coach. We'll see how that goes.
Right.
Um, there's already a lot of chemistry built into the crew that's there, so I'm excited.
Totally. Totally. Oh, I guess so. Part of what I'm trying to do with Good Sport is I'm not a expert on any sport. I'm just like a huge fan, and I'm trying to help casual people, or people that have never been big sports fans, like, enter the world and feel like comfortable in women's sports, make it easier to be a women's sports fan. So how would you describe like our big three, and like who are they, and why are why are we lauded as such, being such a powerful team? Like, what's that kind of about?
Yeah, first off, shout out to Good Sport for doing that,
Oh,
because I feel like women's sports need to be more accessible. Like we're finally getting onto TVs, we're getting
Yep.
the popularity that we're hoping to see as fans. The fandom in general has expanded so much. But I think, finding a good entry point is always important for anyone to get into anything. So
Agreed.
as far as our big three, if you don't know who they are Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, and Breanna Stewart. They've all been with the team, I think, the past 3 years or so.
Yep.
They all have, a long list of accolades during their time both in the WNBA and prior in college. So
Hmm.
Sabrina, for example, she's been on the all team before. She has had the top 3-point percentage in the past. She comes from Oregon, and we just got Satou Sabally, which I'm super, super excited about.
Yep.
One of our teammates to play on the team. She is just like a solid foundation. She actually brought a lot of eyes to the sport, working with Kobe when she was younger. So she's been one of the rocks of the organization.
Yep.
Um, JJ, she has had like every award that has ever existed.
I was
She's
reading them today and I was like, okay.
was reading them and I didn't even realize. I was like, I was thought to write some down. I'm like, nope, she's just had everything. Like most
Yep.
improved player, MVP, all team defense, like you name it. She's
Yep.
just a beast. I think she had a little bit of a tough season last year just due to some injuries, but
Right.
she's just a solid center. She's reliable. Yeah, I think she makes a great duo with Sabrina, and she can hit the
Yep.
three. We're looking for centers to stretch the floor these days, make
Yep.
us harder to defend. She does that. Breanna Stewart, another just like household name when it comes to basketball. She started the Unrivaled League, which is just also is another way to bring more eyes to women's basketball. Another long list of accolades for her. Her
Yep.
time at UConn, she comes from, just a legacy franchise school, and she's just been a huge part of the Liberty team as well. She's a three-time champion, I believe, winning. So all three of them have won a ring together. Hopefully
Yep.
this year is their second ring together. But
Yep.
she's also won two prior. So they're just a really strong core. You can really put two other solid players in there with them, mix and match, and like we should be in a good position.
100%. Yes. Yeah, they were all on the 2024 championship team. I've got my t-shirt from Playa Society that I wore to give us some good vibes going into
I
the.
got
Oh,
Big
yep.
Ellie.
Let's go. Let's go. I love it. We're ready. Yeah, it's so true. I think that's a great point that you can really rotate other players in here to feed off of our core, as you've said. So let's talk about that new addition. What do you think the biggest move the Liberty made during free agency is, and how do you think that's going to impact our team?
I think it's the unicorn. We unfortunately got rid of one Sabali. We picked up another.
Yep.
Um, I think it was a big pickup. Like she is one of my favorite players. I also really love Naira, but she
Yeah.
is so versatile in terms of what she can do on the court. She can play so many different roles that I think she'll have a really good mix with our team. She also
Hmm.
already has chemistry from playing with Sabrina, which I think is huge. Like bringing in new pieces, you usually have to settle in a little bit, get used to playing with one another. They've
Yep.
already played 4 years together, so I think she's gonna fit in pretty seamlessly. I know she's versatile. I'm just excited. Yeah, like she's gonna bring energy to our team. She's a little feisty, she's a little fierce. Not everyone loves it about her. She has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, a little edge,
Hmm.
and I think with losing Tosh, which brought a lot of energy to our team, hopefully like she picks that up, keeps us fired up when we're down, and like keeps that energy maintained for the team. So I think she's definitely our biggest off-season move.
100% agreed. And jumping over to I wrote in the notes like losses, heartbreak, I might cry about T Cloud. Um, I'm just curious. Obviously, there's so much conversation out there about why we didn't resign her. Why is she struggling to find a team, somewhere to land? What are your thoughts on all this?
There's so many rumors looming that
Yeah.
I have so many different thoughts. I don't know what's true at this point. She's
Yep.
come out publicly and said, she no teams have reached out to her. She's staying quiet for now. We're seeing
Yep.
her posting about practicing at her own college, St. Joe's. She's saying she's a wag now for Izzy. She's in Canada. Um, I'd like to believe that the Liberty did give her an offer. I think, picking her up last year was a smart decision. And so I would see them giving an offer. Maybe it wasn't an offer that she was happy with. She's talked a lot about knowing what her worth is and what
Hmm.
she has posted. So I feel like financially may be a contributor to that. There's also a lot of talk that, how much she speaks out politically about her, social justice issues and just kind of where she stands on things has impacted other teams reaching out to her. I honestly don't think that's true. I think the one thing the W does really well is like encourage folks to speak out. And, we had the whole, Black Lives Matter, for example, when they were in the bubble, like
Yep.
the league has gotten behind us doing social justice movements. We've helped flip a seat in the past. So I don't think that's the reason. There's a lot of speculating because she held the sign during Unrivaled that may be the reason.
Yep.
Hard to say. We'll never know the answer until she truly comes out and says it herself. But
100%.
um, in my opinion, I feel like it's probably more financial. She feels she's worth a certain amount, and I think that's great for her to stand on.
Yep.
Maybe the offers she's gotten with the new salary caps, which has like changed the game completely, aren't what she's expecting. They aren't the salary jump she's expecting.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense. That was one thing that drew me, and I think are driving a lot of new fans to the W, that there is room for players to stand up for what they believe in. And I mean, Tosh took a next step in her game last year, but also I think in just terms of her celebrity and her impact. And yeah, I just hope I wish I could just like run into her on the street and just be like, no matter what happens to you, you have so many fans that are gonna like God forbid she's not on a team this season. I'm like, you start a podcast, you do something so we can support you and show that, like, just kind of show her that isn't going to stop people. But her speaking out is actually getting people in her corner. But I agree with you. The money stuff is crazy. Yeah, and I wanted to. This is an area I'm still trying to learn about with like the salary cap and everything. We have so many really strong players. Our big three alone, as you said, like I'm just thinking those are probably all monster contracts. And not everybody can have a monster contract. So I'm curious, do you think that our like JJ and Stewie and Breanna and Satou, all these players, do you think that they go into a project like being on the Liberty and thinking, I might not have as big of a salary because my girls are here too and they got to eat, but we could win a championship, so I'm sticking around. Do you think that is a way folks are thinking about this?
I do. I think in their case that they made out, very well. I think all three of them are millionaires based on where their jump is.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely think, especially more of the mid-tier players that
Yep.
maybe want more, whether they got more or they got less than they're expecting, like it's something you have to have a team mentality. I know there's players on certain teams that have, worked with their coaching staff and said, I'm willing to take a little bit less so we
Right.
have room in our cap to go get someone that's going to get us to the chip, because I like to believe that, true for all of them as a competitor, that's what's most important, them winning at the end of the day. I
Yep.
mean, there's a financial benefit to getting to every round of the playoffs to getting the chip. So
Of
maybe
course.
that you're giving up, you get back, further down the road.
Of course.
So yeah, I think players are willing to, I'm sure to a certain degree, they know their worth as well, but I think there is probably some flexibility for most players, especially if they're having, other endorsements outside of the league, other streams of income,
Of
maybe they
course.
work with brands and things. The women's players have gotten into so many different avenues, from modeling to, starting their own companies, that
Yep.
hopefully they're not relying at this point on just the WNBA. They have more flexibility in the off season to get into other things.
100%. Yes. Like Angel Reese, basically building her own empire at this point.
Yes,
I love
she's
her so much.
no one can make me hate Angel Reese, okay? Like the girl
Never.
is her ownership in Together. I'm actually wearing my Together necklace.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
plug. It says watch women's sports on the back, but that's a good, like, if you want to get into women's sports some, like they drop tidbits consistently. They're telling the stories of players.
Yep.
She became an owner and a part of Together, which is like
Oh, I actually didn't know that. Okay, let's go. She's all over the place. Yeah, she's
yeah,
got a
she's a
podcast
commercial.
and it's so good. And I think like obviously with the new CPA and the we our players are getting paid a lot more, which is great. It is still nowhere near compared to what players in the NBA are making, professional male athletes are making. So there is this added incentive and drive for these women to like build out just really cool other projects that they're doing, as you said. And I think Angel is like such an amazing example of that. And yeah, I'm stoked to just see that even more. But yeah, this is a New York podcast, so I'll try to stay on topic. But the it wouldn't be a podcast I'm hosting if I didn't talk about Angel Reese in the first episode. So we had
Yeah.
to hit that.
I mean,
Um,
equally as brilliant, you've got Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier with Unrivaled. Like that is game changing for the players not having to go overseas. So our New York girls are showing up as well. And that's something, I mean, Angel's obviously creating generational wealth for herself, for her family. She's giving so much back to the community. They are doing that times 100, right? Like they have a whole league. They're bringing in new players. They're supporting
yep.
college players that they have, doing promos for them before they even get into the league. That is just gonna. I've seen it grow just from the 2 years that it's been, and it's just gonna continue to explode. They own the arena. They own the league. So whether Kathy messes up or not, they can still.
Exactly. Yes. I when I was checking out your content, I was like, okay, we need to do a deep like an unrivaled deep dive the future on a different episode because you're so right that it's just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And the fact that Nafisa and Stewie and the whole team were down to take a risk like that. I mean, they're building it's a startup and they put their money and their faces and their reputations on this thing, and it to see it just explode has been the coolest thing ever. And yeah, getting all these young players paid that way more than their rookie salaries at the W, and getting all this extra attention to build their brands too is just there's nothing like it. So let's bookmark that. I'd love to have you on again in the future and we can talk about that more.
I have a lot to say. I'll
You're
zip
like,
it for.
I love it. I love it. No, we'll definitely go back to that. Okay. So are there any other key re-signings or retainings or anything like that that you think we should be talking about or be thinking about?
Yeah, there's a couple players I would mention. So they brought back Becky Allen,
Mm-hmm.
she's just a solid player,
Yep,
honestly. She was a big part of the Liberty. So they're celebrating their 30th season this year. We should definitely mention.
for sure.
But she's been a big part of the foundation of the Liberty. I think she was drafted to the Liberty in 2015.
Yep.
Played there for like 8 years and then went over to the Sun, but she was a huge part of like the coming up of the organization. So this is her homecoming, which is really cool. A fun fact I found out about Satou Sabally is although she's German, she was born in New York. So this
Oh,
is her homecoming too. Yeah.
love that. We got a New Yorker. Cool.
There's a rookie and I hope I'm not saying her name wrong, but it's like Anelli Maley. I know she's caught a lot of eyes of the queer community.
Yeah, I've been seeing some preseason edits of her.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
go off. Yup. Yep. From Australia, 6'1". I'm definitely gonna be keeping an eye on her for sure.
For sure. I want her to make the roster, because like obviously make Barclays as clear as possible, but also
Yeah.
she's solid. I was looking into her a little bit. She had her last game for Australia, she had 65 points and 17 rebounds. Like wild performance.
She went
Um,
off. That's crazy.
yeah. So I think she was a good pickup. Hopefully stays on the team for training
Yep.
camp at least. And then we brought back Han. Like I don't know if you've been to Barclays in the past when Han used to play, but like the crowd goes wild. And she had a game, like her first
She's
preseason
an
game,
icon.
she had 20 points. The
Yep.
footwork was crazy. The growth has been beautiful. And
Yep.
another player that Liberty drafted, they invested in early. Maybe she didn't get a lot of playing time. She hasn't been on the team consecutive every year, but to see them bring her back and just see that investment overseas, coming into fruition in the growth that she's had, I hope she makes the roster. I would love to cheer for her. I'll get her jersey. They get their own money for the jerseys now, so I'll get everyone's jersey.
100%. Yeah, really, really excited to just see how it all comes together and absolutely rooting for everyone. Okay, and then um, we talked about this a little bit before, but we've got a new head coach. The Liberty went out first round of the playoffs last year. I feel like we had a pretty beloved coach. Now we've got Chris DeMarco in. So what are your thoughts? I know it's early, but what are you thinking so far about the new head coach?
Mr. Margot. Well, he's got big shoes to fill. Filling Sandy's shoes is going to be difficult.
Yep.
I don't know a ton about him. I know he used to coach for the Warriors, so most of his experience, I think he worked with that organization for like 19 years.
Yep.
So most of his experience is with men.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how that translates to now working with a professional women's team. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be the big thing. I know there's a bit of a relationship there with Sabrina. I know Sabrina reached out to like Steph Curry when they were looking for a coach to get his endorsement. He had good things to say. I
Yeah.
mean, she's our Steph Curry pretty much. So
Right.
like, if he endorsed it and she believed what he said, hopefully that's a good thing. But I think the most exciting thing I've seen so far was actually a video that Ari posted on TikTok, which was Chris running sprints
I
with the
saw that.
team. And if you will get in there and like, get down and dirty with the team, that's
Yeah.
something to me because that's not something you see often. You see the coaches like passing the ball, they're involved in the drills, they're on,
Totally.
doing a little bit, but he was running sprints with the girls. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's one way to build trust. That is one way to get on, my good side. And he actually coaches the Barbados men's national team, which is also a kind of a fun
Oh,
thing.
that's a
Um,
fun fact.
and
Cool.
JJ's from Barbados. So
Yeah.
like is some connections there as far as, they have met in the past before
Cool.
coming to coach here. So hopefully there's some chemistry there. He knows about, her homeland. Hopefully that connection can be built. So
100%.
I was trying to put together the pieces of all the different connections that are kind of going to come together on one team. We're not starting completely raw, which is nice.
Wow, this just gave me a brain blast of I want to do like a Instagram post of like the web of like all of these connections because like that's such a cool thing about sports is people are it's often revolving doors on these different teams and who was your coach and blah 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 blah. So, yeah, that's a really cool connection.
The other connection, I didn't mention Fiebich, but obviously I'm excited to sign Fiebich back. She's just like a
Yep,
solid player, stone
totally.
cold player, just like, lethal. But she also played in Germany
Cool.
with Satou, so that's another connection that's going to exist as well. So,
Sweet.
there's already some chemistry there between the two of them.
I love that. And I know we also re-signed Marine Johans. Is it
Yep,
Johannes? Johan.
Johannes.
Yes, Johannes.
Yeah.
So she is one half of one of my favorite WNBA couples.
Yes.
And okay, also we were talking about T Cloud being a wag and stuff. I'm like, y'all, I thought you guys broke up.
I know the drama that we kind of saw ensue online. They're back together. I do have some like local plugs that like folks have seen them walking each other's dogs, even though
Okay,
Izzy's
word.
dog did pass away.
Oh no.
But yeah, they're back together, seemingly on good terms.
Okay.
Love is love. We love to see that. And now she's out in Toronto supporting her girl, I guess.
I love it. Well, Miss Izzy, I'll always be an Izzy fan. I loved having just like such a openly loving couple on the team. That was so
So
cool.
yeah.
like the cutest thing ever was like T Cloud like picking Izzy up at the All-Star game and just like walking her around and like
Tiny house.
literally the best thing ever. But yeah, you know, I'm rooting for them no matter what. And but yeah, like that is another thing about women's sports is you got to read between the lines. I'm like, okay, where'd the Instagram photos go? And then a week later, it's like now they're commenting on each other's stuff again. Like,
I know.
you know, don't ever want to get too speculative or anything, but I'm rooting for them for
Right.
sure.
When you're so invested and you want to see love play out, it's hard to not be invested. Like you want to know. Like I
Of
don't want to be
course.
nosy, but also I'm rooting for you, you know?
100%. I'm like, respectfully tell me. In your own time, on your own terms, let me know everything.
Exactly, exactly. Invite me over. Let's talk about it.
Literally, I'm like, I'll walk your dogs with you. You guys can come over and meet my cats and we can kiki about all this. Like, come on. Um, okay, sweet. So we just talked about a lot of aspects of the Liberty. Overall, we're feeling like we got this stacked team. I feel like what is really setting us apart is we've just got this depth. We've got these amazing vets, but also folks to come off the bench and just be playmakers. Are there any teams out there that have your eye that you're like, ooh, that's we're gonna meet them in playoffs, or just kind of making you a little nervous?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like all the teams made really good moves off season. Like the bottom of the barrel was Chicago, Dallas, and
Hmm.
now they're stacked. So you can't even look at last season's rankings to, see where the competition's going to play out. I think Chicago's going to be a good contender this year, where they really weren't last year.
Yep.
I think that the Aces, of course, every year, like they are just going to trying to be that legacy franchise, and they show up and they play like that consistently.
Yep.
Um, I'm excited to see how Toronto and Portland's teams play out after seeing how well the Valkyries did. Like
Yep.
Valkyries are gonna be a problem again. I think like the span of the top team and the bottom team is going to get a lot tighter this year.
Yes.
So you can't take your foot off the pedal for any team this
Hmm.
season. There'll be no time to rest on your laurels, as they
This
say.
is true.
Um, but yeah, the Aces, I do think Chicago's going to be a good threat this year. The Valkyries, again, Minnesota, always. I mean, Nafisa Collier just like puts that team on her back. Seeing them without Alana Smith this year, which will be a change. So
Right.
Dallas, just like the talent pool is so mixed up. I think
In the
everyone,
musical chairs.
yeah, like everyone's a threat. Like you can't count anyone out, really.
I totally agree. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm going to um, Portland to visit my girlfriend's parents, and we have tickets to Fire versus Liberty on like May 15th or something. So I am stoked for that.
Exciting.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
super, super fun. Um, Sweet. Okay. Well, anything else you want to say going into this season before we jump into some fun little segments here?
Um, I do have something I want to say. So
Yeah.
I think Dee Dee Richards has such a cool story. I don't know a ton about her story, but I just know that, at some point she was pretty much paralyzed and had to learn to
Wow.
re-walk. And then she obviously got back into basketball. She was on the Liberty team 2 or 3 years ago, and they have her
Mhm.
on the roster again now. But she hasn't played. She came into training camp hurt. She wasn't listing on the training camp roster. But I just think that is really cool of us as an organization to even just give her that opportunity again. She's been playing overseas. I don't think she's going to actually make the roster, but just seeing that we reinvest in the players that we already have relationship with, and we're seeing that continue even past Sandy being here. So I think that
Totally.
was a really cool move by the team. A lot of international talent is really cool to see being brought in, like a lot of
Yep.
Australians, Germans. I found
Mhm.
out that when Han was drafted by the Liberty, she was the first Chinese player drafted in, I think it was 22 years, which
Wow.
is, yeah, that's like groundbreaking. So the fact that back has an opportunity to be on the league, like I just love that we're becoming more international. So just a
Me
little
too.
tidbit about that. I'm
I
also
love that.
really excited that we the CBA has increased the roster size, which I think
Right.
had a huge impact on last season.
Hmm.
There were so many injuries, there's so many games, such a short period of time. The amount of traveling they're doing from one game to the next, sometimes 3 to 4 games a week, was just kind of crazy.
Way too
So
much.
now I think they can have up to 12 players is now what's allowed on a roster if you're salary allowed. So, um, but also they're allowed 2 development players. So they're outside of the salary cap. They're still paid, but they don't count towards the salary cap, and they're able to play into up to 11 games during the season. But also, they're already part of the team, they're practicing with the team so that if a player does get hurt, they're like an easy slot in, which I feel like they took from Unrivaled because Unrivaled was kind of doing that before them. But I think I saw that the number of players in the league with the development players included went from 144 to 210. So
Wow.
that much more opportunity available for players to get into the W, to get experience, whether it's on a roster playing every game, playing when they have the opportunity to play on a roster, but even just as a development player, practicing with the best players in the world. So those are
I
just
love
some
it.
cool tidbits.
Those are really cool tidbits. I love how international our team is and just feels right for New York, in the best city in the world and a city of so many different people, city of immigrants. So that's super cool. Thanks for getting that in there. Are you ready for some fun segments before we get out of here?
I am. I am.
Let's do it.
Let's
Okay.
go.
First things first. This is just ultimate starting five. Who are your starting five? We could do basketball. You could do your starting five for all women's sports, just who you want on your squad. You get to pick which way we take it.
Oh, that's a hard question.
I know.
Um, I'm gonna go starting five for a Liberty for the season.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's take the pressure off myself.
Yep, 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 yep.
I'm gonna go obviously the big three. JJ, Sabrina, and Stewie are out there. And honestly, I've been like thinking about this a lot, and I've struggled with who I would put into the other two spots. I want to see Sabally on the floor, and she can play a lot of different roles, so I think she'll go well with that mix. And then deciding between Leonie and Fiebich has been really tough for me.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously they play in different roles, and that would switch what role Satou plays in. But Lainey's such a dog. Like she just
love
brings the
her.
team to a whole nother level. Like the defensive intensity she has. I am a big proponent of defense. I'm a defense first player.
Cool.
So I feel like Lainey is that way as well. She's really extended her offense. But having been out a season, I want to see her come back and just take over. So I want her starting. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that would be my personal recommendation. It may end up being, Fiebich, Satu swap there. But yeah, I would love to see Satu, Lainey, Sabrina, JJ, and Stewie as our starting five for the season.
I have goosebumps. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see it. A week from today could not come fast enough. Hell yeah.
Exactly. Be
Cool.
there, tune in, or be square.
Exactly. I can't wait. Okay, now I have some true or false questions for you.
Okay, okay,
I've got 10 here.
okay.
I'm thinking well this is an ongoing segment again for first episode. So you give me feedback after about how it all goes. But I'm thinking for if people get 7 or more, there's going to be some sort of prize. I don't know
Ooh,
what it
okay.
is yet, but let's hit it if you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, this is true or false. The Liberty are one of the 8 original WNBA teams.
True.
True, you got it. The founders of Blazers Sports Bar met on Hinge.
True.
Loved reading about that today.
Yeah, very cool.
So funny. The Liberty have reached the WNBA finals 5 times in its history.
I'm gonna go true.
False, it was 6.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean. I'm doing trickery.
It's a tough one,
I'm
yeah.
changing it up. I'm changing it off by one little thing. Um, New York was the first WNBA team to have its entire regular season aired on television.
I think false.
It's true.
It's true.
They were the first
Wow.
one. I know.
How long ago was that?
I think I was on the Liberty website for this. This was like quite some time ago. This was, I think, like 2000s.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Because I just read something about the Indiana Fever being the first team having all of their. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yes, that's another important thing about this is I Google all of these things and we will have to do some fact checking for
Yeah,
sure.
it might be a difference of like national versus
Totally.
local or something like that. Um,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, this segment is really just like a fun little game but I
Yeah.
know like, I hope we get big enough that I'll have people in my comments correcting me. That would be
Yeah.
great.
I love a little brain teaser. No, bring it on.
Hell yeah. Okay, we got a
I'm
few more. Tina Charles broke the Liberty's franchise scoring record in 2017.
gonna say yes. Tina motherfucking Charles. It's a different year, isn't it? I knew it. Can I go?
2019. Oh, sorry, I gave it away. My bad. Oh my God. No, but she did it just in
I
2019.
frick, I knew that actually. I love Tina. Who isn't in the league? She has not been signed. Oh,
What is going on?
breaks my heart. She breaks my heart more than Tosh Cloud, honestly, because
I
she's a legend.
know. Yeah, she's
Um,
an icon.
I feel like because she is nearing the end of her career,
Yeah,
probably what she's worth and what teams could afford may not align.
yeah,
I mean, she played on the Sun. They
right.
picked up BG. She's a little earlier in her career.
Yep,
Is she gonna have the same impact? I don't know. But yeah. I
got it.
don't know. She needs to be on a team. I don't care. Pay her.
100%.
Pay
Pay
her.
her. Come on. Get her paid.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, a couple more here. The original Liberty mascot was Maddie the dog.
Yep.
True.
And I hope they have both her and Ellie at every game this season for the
Yes,
30th.
for the 30-year anniversary. I know I've been seeing Maddie the dog and some like Instagram content, and I'm like, let's get the girls together.
Get them
Let's.
out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, as of the 2025 season, approximately 25% of WNBA players are openly LGBT.
It's just gonna be like, it's actually 26 or I'm gonna 25%. That honestly, that feels a little low, but openly is a very specific. I'm gonna say true.
You were right with my trickery. It's false, 38%.
Okay, I felt like that was a little low.
But yeah,
30
it's like
is great.
I know, and that is only people that have self-reported.
Yeah,
So we still, that number is higher.
I know a few in the dark out there.
Yeah, I know, 100%. Okay, tallest WNBA player in history is Margot Didek, a Polish center who stood 7 foot. True or false?
Ooh, I have no idea on this one. 7 foot. Do we have anyone over 7 foot? 6'11" is the tallest I can think of. I'm gonna go true.
False, she's 7 foot 2.
Oh my goodness. It's her though. It is her. Okay.
100%. I think the tallest is it Han? She's 6'11".
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
yep. Yeah,
And I
so
think
you
Lauren Betts is pretty close to that,
I
right?
think she's like 6'9".
Okay, 6'9". Okay.
Yeah, but no,
You
you
you just
were you were
six
totally. See, this is what I mean. I'm like this is such bullshit because
devious.
yeah, it's super devious. Like you are getting them all right. You're like answering blank, fill in the blanks instead of you're too big brain for this. Um,
Yeah.
okay, last two here. In March of 2022, there was only one bar dedicated to women's sports in the US. Now there are 27. True or false?
It was sports bra if it was one bar, but was it only one bar? Oh, I'm gonna I just keep going true. I'm gonna go true again.
That's true. See, this
Okay.
is what I mean. You're like, let me give you a fact about the fact. And it was sports bra in Portland, Oregon.
They're
Now they're
millionaires now, yeah.
100% expanding all over the damn place. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
it is.
Okay, and this is my last one. Ready?
Okay.
Christina Cooper's adult rec team, the Dynasty, won their league's championship in 2025.
Yes, we did 3-on-3. Let's go.
True. Okay, amazing work. I think you got 6 right. So you got majority.
I just missed the prize.
You just missed the prize, but you're our first guest, so you're gonna get the prize anyway, trust.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, 100%. That was super fun though. Cool. Okay, and then my last question, this is gonna be my ongoing segment that I ask everyone, is what have you been a good sport about lately?
Okay, I know my answer here, and I've been a good sport about the refs. And you're probably thinking in the WNBA, but no, actually in my league. I've been getting more foul calls than I personally think I deserve recently, and I think they've just remembered my number at this point,
Yep,
and,
yep, yep.
I wasn't even in a play during our playoff game, and I got a foul, and you know what? I didn't complain, I was just like, "You know what? I'm gonna be a good sport. I don't wanna get on their bad side." So yes, we also lost the game, so I was a good sport about that. You know, they played a great game. I said thank you to the refs. But you know what I was a better sport about? I have signed up for ref courses.
Let's go.
Going forward, I will be a professional as far as being certified, knowing the rules. If I'm going to challenge the ref, I'm going to do so with the information. So hopefully you'll see me on a court one day reffing the WNBA. And that's the best
I
be a good sport, but also, take the high road.
100%. That is like the most like diabolically brilliant. Like you're like, oh, you're gonna give me a bunch of calls. I'm gonna go get certified. I'm gonna go.
Ref your game.
You're like, so here's the rule book. That is the good sport mentality. That is amazing. Christina, this has been such a blast. Thank you for coming on. I had so much fun with
Thank you for
you.
having me. Yes.
Where can the people find you? What do you want to plug? How can our listeners support you and keep in touch with you?
Yes, thanks for asking. So I am on both TikTok and Instagram, hoops period with period coop. That's a recent rebrand. I used to be Hoops Rants with Coops. I realize that is a mouthful to say. We are now Coop. Coop.
With
I'm
Coop.
Coop. Yep. I go by Christina or Coop. You can call me either.
Cool.
You can also find me in the Pride Basketball League in New York City. If you play basketball, come out, join a team. It's super competitive. I also play in Urban in New York City. I also play at Swish House in New York City. So lots of basketball.
You're busy.
Hopefully, someone finds me in a court near you. And I'm at every Liberty home game, section 29. Shout out to my group. So I'll be there cheering on the Liberty, and those are the best places to find me. Lastly, I will be hosting at Blazers for the upcoming season. Some watch parties. I might be doing an event for Pride, so
Cool.
come out, meet a friend, bring an ex, bring a partner, bring your whole polycule, whatever you need.
Hell yeah.
I love meeting new people. I love talking to strangers. So you can always, if you see my face, come up to me, and I would love to meet anyone and talk women's sports.
Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a good sport.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with me and Christina. Before you get out of here, here is everything you should watch if you are a women's sports fan in New York City this weekend. Okay, first up, the Liberty on Friday, May 8th. We have our season opener at 7:30 p.m. against the Connecticut Sun. You can watch that on Ion. And then on Sunday, which is the 10th, we have a game at 3 p.m. versus the Washington Mystics. You can watch that on My 9 for local TV. And then there's also a free live stream you can get through the Liberty's website if you go on the schedule tab. Next up, Gotham FC. We have a game on Saturday, May 9th at 6:30 p.m. versus Boston. You can watch that on Ion. And then lastly, our rugby team, the Exiles, have a game also on Saturday, May 9th at 5 p.m. versus the Bay Breakers. And you can watch that on the Women's Sports Network, and you can download that app on Roku or Apple TV or whatever. I'm very excited to say we have episodes about Gotham and the Exiles coming down the pipe this month. I'll be recording those soon, so stay tuned. And then lastly, each week I'm going to do a good sport of the week where I shout out someone from the community or in my life or a random stranger that is helping in this project or in my life generally. And so for this week, for the first episode, my good sport is my best friend Kira, who is a huge women's sports fan out in the Bay. Shout out to the Bay. And Kira has been very supportive of me doing this pod and this project since the moment I wanted to. She's the recipient of many texts and phone calls with ideas, and I so appreciate her being such a big supporter. And her team just won their queer league kickball tournament this weekend. So shout out. I love women in sports. And that's it for this week, this first episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Follow us on Instagram at goodsport.nyc. Shoot me a message there. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want from a show like this, from a newsletter, from a community. This is a community project, and I want to know what you think. Thank you so much. Good Sport NYC was created by Christiana Cooper with editing and production help from Rosabelle Hine. Good Sport's visual identity is by Nikki Vandervelde. This show is not sponsored by anyone, but hopefully someone soon.